Wakundu Economic Zone and other issues. Let's now take a look at what is happening in the political scene. David Mudhoka joins us. David, good morning. What should we expect from that scene?
On the political front, we have two major happenings taking place within the Nairobi CBD, and that is the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport as well as the DCI headquarters located along Kiambu Road in Nairobi. And let me break it down why we have our eyes trained on those two places. And to start off, at the DCI headquarters, we saw a communication yesterday from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations summoning former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i to appear before the DCI detectives at the DCI headquarters to explain and shed more light into an alleged raid by police that took place at his current home exactly 2 weeks ago. And so the very summons are expected to start from 9:30 a.m. and we have our eyes there just to see whether the former CS will be appearing before who just 6 months ago will be his juniors, and that is the DCI detectives looking into the matter of the DCI raid. You can remember on the night of Wednesday 2 weeks ago, we saw some breaking news of an alleged raid by police officers at the home of the former CS for Interior, Fred Matiang'i. And then we did see Matiang'i's lawyer, Danstan Omari, present at his home that night, as well as Azimio leaders led by Raila Odinga there, saying that they were against that. But then the day after, the country woke up to reports from the DCI, from the EACC, as well as the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, saying that no officer from either team had been sent to Matiang'i's home. And then a week later, they would raid his home for real this time round, as they say, to obtain CCTV footage that would help them establish who were at Matiang'i's home 2 weeks ago. And so we have our eyes there just to see whether Matiang'i will be appearing. And that will be what his relative rather he spoke at the home of the late Professor George Magoha, indeed there just to pay his last respects. And away from that, at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, we have the arrival of the USA First Lady, Jill Biden, who will be touching down sometimes today. And of course, that will be her third trip into the country following trips in 2010 and 2011. Now, this very trip will be a 3-day trip, and she will be meant other than Mama Rachel Bruton. So we are seeing what will be happening, of course, in her that trip. Remember, her first trip in 2010, she went to Kibra. In her second trip, she went to the Dadaab refugee camp. And so there is an entire itinerary surrounding that. And of course, we have our eyes there monitoring the movements and the events that will be taking place from the arrival of the USA First Lady, Jill Biden.
All right. Thank you so much, David Mudhoka, for that. We're looking forward to what else is going to happen in the course of the day, apart from what David Mudhoka has mentioned. But before we go and take a look at what's happening online, let's just take a look at this story. Former powerful Interior Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, has to consider his options before daybreak. A summons to appear are issued against him. He is nevertheless expected to appear before the DCI to provide information regarding alleged raid at his current home on the night of February 8th. The DCI wants Matiang'i to aid in the ongoing investigations, where leaders claimed his home was raided before it was raided openly in broad daylight and electronics carted away. This comes hours after the High Court issued orders barring the DCI from summoning Danstan Omari, one of the lawyers representing Matiang'i. Our reporter Fred Kagonye with more.
Former Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i has been summoned to appear before the Directorate of Criminal Investigations LUTS to shed more light on the alleged raid on his current residence on the night of February 8th. Matiang'i is expected to appear on February 24th at 9:30 a.m. According to the summon letter, if Matiang'i fails to show up, then he will be held liable and might lead to his prosecution over the same. The summons from the DCI come hours after the High Court, through Justice Momanyi Bongonga, extended anticipatory bail orders to March 19th that Matiang'i had gotten through his lawyers on February 9th. Earlier in the day, the High Court, through Justice Jairus Nga, suspended DCI summons issued to lawyer Danston Omari over the saga. Omari had been summoned by the DCI to shed more light on the alleged raid, but he rushed to court where he got orders barring the summons. His case will be mentioned on March 8th. In his submissions, he argues that the DCI acted in bad faith